بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين بارئ الخلائق أجمعين والصلاة والسلام على خاتم الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا ونبينا ومولانا أبي القاسم محمد صلى الله على محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين الذين أذهب الله عنهم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا صلى الله على محمد. أما بعد فأوصيكم ونفسي بتقوى الله فإنه حبل متين وعروة وثقى صلوات. Dear brothers and sisters in Iman, first of all I advise myself for taqwa, parhezgari and piety, and then I advise all of you for the same. Today I would like to conclude the theme which we have been discussing from almost last 2 months, and that was about the life and the legacy of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wa alihi wasallam. Every year during the months of Rabiul Awwal and Rabiul Thani, we take another look at the life and the legacy and the message and the teachings of our Prophet, and see that how can we learn from his example and how can we follow his footsteps in our day-to-day life. And every year we try to look from different angles, from different resources. We tried our best to do our annual routine this year, and today I am concluding it with a quote which is mentioned by one of our great scholars, marhum Sheikh Abbas Ummi, and a scholar which is more known for his work Mafatihul Janan, while he had produced actually many more scholarly works as well, but those are for ulama, and the common people mostly they know him about this book on du'as, known as Khatamul Muhaddisin. A great scholar, an alim that who was alim ba'amal, a pious man, a virtuous man, an accomplished man. He has a work known, again this is a very brief one, Ash-Shama'ilul Muhammadiyya, and this is Mukhtasar. And in that one, while he is talking about Holy Prophet, he quotes one riwayat, one tradition from Imam Hussain ibn Ali alayhi salatu wassalam. And basically our third Imam is asking our first Imam to shed some light on the lifestyle of his grandfather, meaning the Prophet of Islam. Imam Hussain asking Imam Ali to shed some light on the life of Prophet. And so riwayat goes like this: وَعَنِ الْحُسَيْنِ ibn Ali صلوات الله عليهما قال سألت أبي عن سيرة النبي sallallahu alayhi wa alihi. Imam Hussain says, I asked my father about the seerah, the lifestyle of Prophet, fi julasaihi, his method and way, that how he was used to engage with people around him. When he had companions, when there were people around him, how he was used to sit with them, how he was used to engage with them, how he was used to conduct his majlis, his meeting, his company. Faqal. No, the answer comes from his father, Imam Ali. He says, Kana Rasulullah da'im al-Bishr. Number one, the Messenger of Allah was always cheerful. There was always smile on his face. No matter that he was a man who was always facing challenges, not only one challenge at one time, actually he was always facing multiple challenges. But although he was going through all those hardships and challenges, and many times he was grieving and he was going through all those setbacks, but still, da'imal bishr. Always there was smile on his face and he was very cheerful. Sahl al-khulq. Sahl al-khulq was, meaning you can say it, easygoing. He was a great man, a great scholar, a great leader, chief of the mankind, chief of his society, but even being chief and leader, he was an easygoing person. While if you know the culture of that time and even this time in that region, if you are a man of some standing, you are the most difficult one to deal with, or to hang around, or to go and meet. They are never easygoing people, because you are enjoying a status, you are chief, you are leader. So people have to go through so much protocols to reach you, to meet you, to talk to you. But Prophet was very easy going person. Layyan al-janib. He was also someone that who was very mild and very again soft kind of a person in his behavior, in his way of dealing with people, very gentle, very kind. He was, and then he says, Laysa bifadhin wala ghaliz. He was not a man of harsh nature. He was not hard. He was not hard-hearted. And he was not a man that who had any harshness in his style or in his lifestyle. And that is what even Quran praises the Prophet, and Quran says that this is from فَبِمَا رَحْمَةٍ مِّنَ اللَّهِ لِنْتَ لَهُمْ. This ayat of Quran, that it is a special mercy of your God upon you, that you are very soft and very kind and gentle with people. And you are not someone that who is very hard-hearted or a harsh person. Because if you would be that kind of person, lanfaddu min hawlik, then all these people who are all now hanging around with you, they would run away from you. When we are hard and harsh, no one likes to hang with us, nobody likes to be with us, everybody runs away. Even our own families, our own children will say goodbye and they will leave. But Prophet was a gentle, kind, soft, mild kind of person. And then Imam Ali says, Wala sakhab, wala fahash, wala ayyab. He was not a shouting, screaming, yelling person. Sakhab means he was not screaming and shouting. Normally, Prophet was used to speak very, he was soft spoken. And only people could hear him who were sitting next to him and talking to him. But he was not a man. And again, this is totally opposite of the culture of that time. In that culture, the father, the chief, the leader has to speak very loud, earth-shattering kind of individual. That when you shout, when you talk, when you speak, everybody gets scared, everybody pays attention to you, everybody falls in line and fathers or leaders would start talking before entering the home, before reaching to the home in that loud voice that the wife, the children, the servants, everyone gets the message, chief is coming. And he is gonna come to home and everybody is disciplined. That was the style of a leader. Like back home, if you go and you hear these generals and these dictators and these commanders and these people who are enjoying any position, so this is how they speak. But Prophet was very gentle. He was not used to scream or shout or yell. He was not used to curse anyone. He was not used to use the cursive language or abusive language. And he was not the one who would find faults with people. Some of us, mashallah, have expertise in this great skill of finding faults in people. But Prophet was not someone who was looking for faults in people or highlighting their faults and their weaknesses. Prophet was someone who would look to the great potentials of people, the abilities of people, the skills of people, the strengths of people, not the weaknesses of people. So, he was not screaming, he was not shouting, he was not cursing, he was not finding faults with people, and he was not a man who would argue with people on anything and everything. Actually, Prophet would avoid very much from entering into the arguments with people. Wala mashah. Then he says, قَدْ تَرَكَ نَفْسَهُ مِنْ ثَلَاثٍ. For three things, Prophet had abandoned three attitudes or three habits or three lifestyles. Prophet would never indulge in those. Number one, al-mira, which is arguing with people. Some of us, everything has to be perfect, everything has to be on the point, everything has to be up to the mark. And if it is not up to mark, if it is not to my level of satisfaction or according to my understanding or according to my knowledge, then any statement, I have to make a hashia on that. I have to write a note on that. Yes, you are right, but this, but that. It would be good if you would add this, it would be good if you could include this, if it would be good if you exclude this. So some of us, we are always sitting there to write hashia on every statement, on every khutbah, on every sermon, on every statement. Anybody says anything, I have a comment for it. Prophet was not a man like that. Prophet was not a man like that. He was very polite. He was very gentle. He was very kind. And he would not jump into argument with people, because everyone is not that knowledgeable to always make those kind of very academic and very perfect statements. People normally have tendency, sometimes they will be going more on one side, sometimes they will be going on the other side. Ifrat and Tafreet, as Amirul Mu'mineen says, La taral jahil, imma mufrid, imma mufarrid. So Ifrat and Tafreet is part of life of someone who is not knowledgeable or who is not trained. He cannot make every time exact and perfect statements. And if you start correcting each and every one, and each and every time, and each and every statement, then you cannot really, practically you cannot do anything. You just keep sitting and correcting people. And you just keep correcting their statements and their language and their grammar and their ahkam and their fiqh and their adab and akhlaq and everything, and keep writing hashia on hashia and note on note. So you are all occupied with this work, and Prophet had 1001 jobs to do. He would not get into these minor things, and he would give people room to grow at their own or gradually. And he was not a perfectionist, in other words. Perfectionism is basically a behavioral problem. And it kills you, and it really kills all those who are around you. It's good to seek excellence, but never seek perfectionism. Because when you will become perfectionist, you are going to put yourself in trouble, and you are going to put all those people around you in trouble. Recite salawat. Then Prophet had also, he would not, as al-mira wal ikthar. Ikthar is also meaning, that when you can't stop. You do whatever you do. If you are speaking, you cannot stop. If you are eating, you cannot stop. If you are giving advice, you cannot stop. If you are asked a question and you are answering, you cannot stop. Meaning it's doing anything in excessive manner. The other day I was hearing someone referring to Einstein. I don't know, I have not checked the reference, but somebody was saying that Einstein has said that the genius, to be genius is to know when this is enough and when to stop. When you can stop, when you know when to stop, then it means you are a genius person. Because most of us, we don't know when to stop. When we start, either we don't start, we don't speak, we don't get involved, we don't get into the discussion, we don't get into the game. We keep standing where most of us will be stand by, and people who would like to sit behind on the back benches, most of us. But if we start talking, or if we get into the discussion, then we don't know how to stop. And the geniusness of Prophet was that he knew that he is not going to talk excessively. He had the art of saying much in very few words, in very concise statement. And then also He says, وَمَا لَا يَعْنِيهِ. And Prophet would not get into the discussions which have no benefit. If these are not productive discussions, if these are not useful discussions, he would not even bother to get into those talks and those vain talks and those discussions, those topics which have no benefit. So when he would speak only when it is needed. He would speak very measured, concise, to the point, and also in a way that it is useful. But if it is not useful, he is not going to talk about it. Please recite a salawat. وَتَرَكَ النَّاسْ مِنْ salas. Prophet had also kept people safe from three kind of things which normally people do bother other people, but Prophet would not bother people. In these three areas, one, كَانَ لَا يَذُمُّ أَحَدًا. Prophet was not used to criticize anyone in person, by name. Rarely we see in the seerah that Prophet had criticized someone by name, on his face, by singling him out. Rarely in those 23 years of his work. He would not single out anyone. He would not humiliate anyone. He would not degrade anyone. And as we have spoken in past also in one of my speeches, Prophet would, if he had to correct one behavior or one practice of people, Prophet would speak in general terms. Why people do this? Why people don't consider this? Why people don't look into it? What has happened to people that they do these kind of things or they don't do these kind of things? So it was all in general, saving people's respect and their honor and their dignity. So, one thing is, كَانَ لَا يَذُمُّ أَحَدًا. He was not used to criticize anyone. And he would not find faults with anyone. وَلَا يَطْلُبُ عَوْرَتَهُ. And he would also not make an effort to find people's secrets. Their whatever was private, Prophet would not make an effort to get into the private lives of people, or he would not violate their privacy. If it's a private life, these are the private matters. Privacy was respected, and Prophet would not make any effort as a leader of the community to go and look into what is happening in their private lives. I'm just selecting a few lines here and few words because the paragraph is long and we don't have that much time. Recite a salawat. Whenever he would speak, وَلَا يَتَكَلَّمْ إِلَّا فِي مَا رَجَى ثَوَابَهُ. Prophet would not start talking about anything and everything. He would look into whether it is required, whether it is needed, and whether it has some sawab. So, he would only talk about things or in a way about the things where he knew that he will get sawab and there will be benefit of speaking. وَإِذَا تَكَلَّمَ أَتْرَكَ جُلَسَاؤُهُ كَأَنَّمَا عَلَى رُؤُوسِهِمُ الطَّيْرُ. Even being mild, being polite, being gentle and kind, he had so much control on people that when he would speak, all people around him, they would quietly listen to him And they would not look around and move around as if the birds are sitting on their heads. And they are afraid that if they will look around or if they will move around, these birds will fly away. He had that kind of respect which he in his companions. And most of us who are very rough and tough people, and I spoke with some senior leaders back home, army generals and army commanders and some of those politicians and some of my own relatives that who were on a big positions, and I was the only one. I was man of God. I went to the Hausa, and these were all leaders, politicians, and when I would sit with them as a family member, I would try to preach them, and I would tell them that why you are so arrogant, why you are so tough and rough with people, and why you can't be gentle and kind with people. And all of them had one answer. They say, if we get gentle with them, if we get kind with them, if we become polite with them, they will be spoiled. They will not respect us anymore. They would not listen to us anymore. They will not pay attention to anymore. We will lose control. Totally the contrary to that, we see the Prophet, a successful example, that he showed that you can be gentle with people, you can be kind with people, you can be polite and humble with people, and still you can control them and you can command them. And that role model is in the life of Prophet. Again, because we don't have much time in hand, otherwise I would give you more examples. And to make this point, that this is very important, my brothers and sisters. We don't have to be rough and tough and that kind of people with so much reserve just to keep control on them or keep respect. No. You will have more respect in their hearts if you are kind, gentle, understanding, polite, and humble with them. Recite a salawat. Now, another thing which is totally contrary to the culture of those elites or the chiefs or the leaders. يَضْحَكُ مِمَّا يَضْحَكُونَ مِنْهُ وَيَتَعَجَّبُ مِمَّا يَتَعَجَّبُونَ مِنْهُ. Prophet was sitting with his companions just as one of them. As one member in the company among them, he would be just one of them. He would laugh with them when they would laugh on something, and he would wonder about something which everybody was wondering. He would do ta'ajjub with people when people are doing ta'ajjub about something, and he would laugh with them when people are laughing. So he would not sit in a company where he is totally sitting in a different way, with different mood, different style, and everybody else is different. He would be one of them. And this was again the skill, as we have heard from the companions of Imam Ali alayhi salatu wasalam. He was also a man of the same thing. The last thing what I am saying is, I am picking one part of this where Prophet وَلَا يَقْبَلُ الثَّنَاءَ إِلَّا مِن مُقَافِئٍ. Prophet was not a man who would like flattering, people praising him excessively, and the flattery. Prophet discouraged people from that behavior. Unless if Prophet has really done something good and he has given a favor to someone, and that person comes and he wants to acknowledge the favor of Prophet, and if he wants to say thank you to Prophet, or if he wants to praise his generosity according to that what Prophet has done, then that was fine. But more than that, sitting in the company of Prophet and keep praising him and keep talking about him excessively in that way, that culture was the culture of kings, culture of those dictators and the chiefs. But that was not the culture of Prophet. Prophet was a man, and there are ahadith also which Prophet says, put dirt in mouth of those that who come to do this flattering for you, which of course we love. Normally we can't put the dirt in their mouth. We say, Allahumma zid fazid. So not only this one person, I need 10 more people to come and do this tarif tamjeed for me and give me all the high credit of even those things which I have not done. Prophet was not a man like that. He was very humble, and he was a man of a real culture. So I think that's all what I can say, and this is good enough for us to learn lessons, and then inshallah we will have the rest of discussions next year. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Wal asri innal insana lafi khusr illa alladhina amanu wa amilus salihat wa tawasaw bil haqqi wa tawasaw bis sabr. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Alhamdulillahi alladhi la ilaha illa huwal halimul kareem. Ghafirul dhanbi wa qabilul tawbi wa huwal ghafurur rahim. Inna Allaha wa malaikatahu yusalluna 'alan nabi. يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. बैठा था मैं, आप कहीं और देख रहे थे मुझे याद है जी हाँ. चलें, कोई बात नहीं, 2 दफ़ा बैठ लिए. रिसाइट सलावत. Brothers and sisters, in this second khutbah of Jum'ah, again I advise myself for taqwa, parhezgari and piety, and then I advise all of you for the same. We don't have much time in hand in this second khutbah. Particularly today we have a funeral. One of respected sisters in our community passed away. We offer our condolences to her family, and a family member, Hujjatul Islam Maulana Zaidi, is amongst us from Houston. He is a family member, and as a family member we always talk about it, and we always encourage that if a family member conducts the funeral services and does all this, that has more sawab, and it is more befitting. So today at least we will have that one example, that we have a family member who will be conducting the funeral services for marhuma. And we need to be on the time in the cemetery, and we have to conclude it. But on the other hand, today there is something which is very time sensitive, and I just cannot go without saying that. I have received so many questions, so many emails, so many text messages, and like many other ulama and community leaders in other masajid and other centers, keeping the next Tuesday in mind, the election day is very important. And as everybody is saying, this time it is much, much more important. Matter of fact, one of the elections which is going to be very important for every segment of society and for everyone living in this country and even around the globe. So, scholars, Imam Masajid, ulama, or first they are making the disclaimer, and I will do the same, that as a masjid, as a 501c3 charitable organization, as a religious organization, as a non-profit organization, we are not supposed to endorse any particular candidate. And I'm not going to do that, and I'm not going to tell you that whom you have to go and vote and whom you are not supposed to vote. That is your own personal judgment, and that is your own personal decision. There are so many resources available, there is so much advice available in Muslim community. Almost every person is talking about it. I have spoken about it here and there, and I will be again speaking, but out of the masjid. And there are people outside who are speaking and who are telling you, but in their own personal capacity. If I will tell you again, I will tell you in my personal capacity as Amir Mukhtar Faizi, as not Maulana Amir Mukhtar Faizi, the founding Imam of Baitul Ilm. So just keep that in mind. Very briefly, brothers and sisters, there are no good choices. We are living in a time which is a time of almost, it's a time of fitna, and a very painful situation, very painful time, and we are left with no good choices. In past, some of us were used to say that take the lesser evil and go with the lesser evil. I think we have passed that phase also. We cannot just go with that old approach of comparing two evils and then say this is a lesser evil and let go with the lesser evil. This time that is not going to work. No. There are three opinions right now. You go and search on the YouTube, on Facebook, on social media, here and there you will find these three positions. I'm just going to put in front of you very briefly and then I will finish. And if you want to talk to me in my personal capacity, I will be available, and then there are some other people who are also available to speak with you. One group of people is still comparing the two evils, and they look at the current administration and this Harris and Walz, this ticket, as a lesser evil. And their point is that we know what they have done and what they are doing, but if this ticket is not selected, then the next choice is Trump. And the Trump we have faced in those 4 years, and is somebody that this group of people feels that Trump is gonna come and corrupt everything and create not only the problems for overseas but even within the society, a divisive voice, extremist, and with so many issues and so many problems. So this is what this group of people, they think. They don't realize that this administration served the baby killer administration more than any administration in history. And they don't realize that how much blood is on their hands. And they have not done anything to protect those people in Gaza, Palestine, in Lebanon, in other places, and they have been non-stop providing the weapons and the money and every kind of support, and they kept doing vetoes in the Security Council and provided the whole cover and the full cover. And there is no hope that they will stop. Now at least they had some fear of election. But if they got elected, then you know that they are off the hook. And then they will obey their masters actually more than what they have been obeying in last 1 year. So that is the one position. The other one, of course, is someone that we know his past and we know what kind of this man is and what he has been saying about Muslims, about Arabs, about Iran, about meaning our ladies in hijab, our other people, different kind of people. So there is, and he has not made any promises that he will be standing with the oppressed or he will be standing with the Mazloom. Actually, he is the one that who is making bigger threats. So there is no hope. Everyone is confused with that meeting in Dearborn in Michigan, that he came there and a bunch of people stood with him and there was a show put up together. But we did some verifications and that was not the case. Very, very few people, they really stood with him or agreed with him, but it was not a big endorsement on behalf of the entire community of Dearborn. It was not an endorsement of all the masajid, all the imams, all the ulama, or all the organizations in Dearborn. No, that was not the case. It was just a made-up show to confuse people. And the man is not really trustworthy or is not someone that you can really go with. And has again so much blood in past on his hands. But the other group thinks that they compare Trump with Harris and they say, oh, he will be spending money here and he is not for war and he will stop the war and he will do this and he will do. Those are the promises. But meaning again, we can look at the past, we can look his speeches, whatever he was doing during the campaign. So there is a third approach. You may have seen, and some of you have posted that letter written and signed by a number of imams of Shia community and the Sunni community. Mainly it was drafted and signed by the Sunni imams and Sunni community, but then a number of our Shia imams and scholars also signed that letter. If I am not making mistake, Sheikh Rizwan is sitting in front of us, you have signed it. Sheikh Rizwan also had signed it, Maulana Sulaiman had also signed it, a few of our other friends have signed it. I tried to sign it several times, but because I'm not good at the technology, I don't know, I was never able to get in and I was never able to sign it. But basically this is another third approach, and that was that this time we are not going to compare the two evils and we will not get into this business of lesser evil. The third approach was that this time people will go and with the Green Party, with the third option, with the third party. And they will vote for third party. And basically everyone knows that by this vote, third party will not get elected. But this is a vote of protest. This is a protest against the current administration, and this is the protest of the other one. For both major parties, it is considered a protest vote for both major parties and sending them the message by going into this third party at this time and giving them vote that Muslims and many others like there are Jewish voices also, and there are some other young people from all different faiths and different communities that who don't like the politics and the priorities of both parties. And they are going with a third party, so they are sending a message, a very strong message to the both major parties that they need to review their policies, their plans, and their way of conducting the country and the world in future, and make those adjustments in their policies. Otherwise, people will keep leaving them, and people will keep going to the third party. So that is the third approach. I have put all these three approaches in front of you. It's up to you to use your own mind, to make your own judgment. But one thing which I will say very strongly, that none of you should sit at home and boycott the election. That is not the option. That is not option, my brothers and sisters. If I was a faqih and a mujtahid and ayatollah, and as our mujtahideen and maraji and ulama and ayatollahs, they make the statement on whenever the Iranian elections are there that it is wajib on people to go out and vote, I would issue that kind of fatwa. But thank God I am not mujtahid, I am not marja, I am not ayatollah. But I am telling you that it is not an option to become hopeless and isolate and sit at home and do nothing. That's what they love. Both major parties will love Muslims to just not vote and sit home. We need to go out and vote and record our protest. That's the least things, my brothers and sisters, what we can do. For those brothers and sisters, for our shuhada, for those displaced people, for those orphans, for those widows, all of us are every time saying, oh, I'm sorry, I cannot do anything, we cannot do anything, we cannot do anything. No, here is something what we can do. We can do. And this is not only going to help them, but it is going to help us and everyone in this country and in this society in coming elections and in coming elections and in coming elections. And no one should again feel, as a Shia Isna Ashari particularly, that since my vote is not going to make difference, then I am not going to vote or I am not going to stand with anyone. If that was the case, do you think that if our imams would stand up in their times, and they would stand up as a candidate, and you know that how many we have been in the history, how many votes we had, and then what would we say? That Imam Ali, I know my vote will be wasted. You will never get elected. Imam Sadiq, I would love to vote for you, but I know my vote would be wasted. My vote is not going to make any difference. And you will not get elected because these are so many people and they have so many resources and their vote. So I will either join the winner or I will just pull out myself. My brothers and sisters, we as Shias of Ahlul Bayt, we know that vote is not only for winning. Vote is not only for winning or for winning party or achieving the instant results. You speak your mind and you stand with the right person and you make a statement that where you stand in all these issues. So that is what you do, whether your vote makes someone winner or it does not make any difference, at least between you and your Lord, you have a hujjat and you have a dalil. You can say, my Lord, I could do only this much. I did what I could do and the rest of that is in your hands. Allahumma salli wa sallim ala Sayyidina wa Nabiyyina wa Mawlana Abil Qasim Muhammad. وعلى أمير المؤمنين وإمام المتقين علي بن أبي طالب وعلى سيدة نساء العالمين فاطمة الزهراء وعلى الحسن والحسين سيدي شباب أهل الجنة وعلى علي بن الحسين ومحمد بن علي وجعفر بن محمد وموسى بن جعفر وعلي بن موسى ومحمد بن علي وعلي بن محمد والحسن بن علي. اللهم صل على مولانا صاحب العصر والزمان وعلى آبائه الكرام ما اتصل الليالي والأيام. أما بعد، فقد قال الله تبارك وتعالى: إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون.